Hello guys, how you doing? I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. And this is JP Saracolia. So now let's start with the news. Avengers: Infinity War was definitely one of the highlights of this summer. It was one of the highlights of the movies this year, and definitely a lot of people are crazy about it. As you know, the movie's coming out now on Blu-ray and on disc, and most retailers. It's already out. It's been out for I think over a week. On digital media, on digital means, but now you're gonna be able to pick it up. So it's coming out on August 14th, which is Tuesday, and definitely you haven't pre-ordered your copy, I highly recommend it. One of the most anticipated reveals of this week was Red Dead Redemption 2. I love Red Dead, the first one. It was just I was crazy for it. I played it for a long time. I played on the PS3. I played on the Xbox 360. I still, I have to consider it as one of the highlights of, last gen. It was just phenomenal. Everything you could do in that game was fantastic. I've never been such a fan of Rockstar and some of their games, but I'm not a fan of Grand Theft Auto, but definitely I did like the direction of this game, of Red Dead. And now that the second one is coming, it has so much craziness. And it really blows what Red Dead did first. Yes, there are a couple of things that I feel that it's not as surprising. There's a few things that I have my concerns, of course. It's the same probably. There's some the same gameplay, the same things. Of course, they're having improved. Now you're looking at better graphics. It just feels that it was something that we've been here before. We already went through this, but I'm still pumped. I'm still really looking forward to play the game to see what's next. So stay tuned for that. Just already have it on pre-order. You can pre-order those. So I have the links below so you can actually sign up for your copy. Now, one of the biggest events of this last week, and actually was from the previous weekend, was the EVO 2018, Evolution 2018. I grew up in the arcade scene. I grew up in the fighting game scene through the Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and all those games back in the 90s. So definitely, I'd really have a special heart for EVO, particularly. EVO has grown so much. It's such a huge event. The lineup this year was definitely phenomenal. We have games like Street Fighter V Arcade Edition. You also have Tekken 7. You have Guilty Gear XRD Revelation 2, we had Injustice 2, Super Smash Bros. Melee, still playing that from the GameCube, Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U. You also have Dragon Ball FighterZ, which definitely was the biggest game of this season, and you have BlazBlue, Cross Tag Battle, and Soul Calibur 6. Clearly a vast array of games. It was really fantastic to see all this, particularly a lot of young people there playing there. It was pumped, it was full of energy. A lot of people really enjoyed it, and I was one of them, just watching them. And as usual, as now all the people are pumped for the fighting games and all these games. Of course, these companies are bringing more DLC and bringing more reveals. You saw a lot of trailers, some of them on EVO. We have Street Fighter that actually was released this week. We have Sagat and President G, which definitely is a cool character. But those are fantastic. I definitely love what Street Fighter V is doing. It's a much better game now with Season 3. It's a much better game than when it started. It was completely lacking a lot of stuff, but definitely, as always, Capcom continues to increase. And of course, that's how they bring revenue, by adding more seasons and more DLC characters. So definitely, if you haven't checked out Street Fighter V, you need to check it out. Another great game that I had some DLC this week, you have Dragon Ball FighterZ, which, oh my god, it's just fantastic. Dragon Ball, I played the Ultimate Tenkaichi games, the Budokai games, and they were cool. It was fantastic. It was great to see those fighting games. But nothing compares to what, Dragon Ball FighterZ is doing, especially if it's done by RX System Works. So it's crazy what they have done, and they added and this week you can actually go to the different PlayStation Store and Xbox store. You can go to Microsoft Store. You can get the in this case Goku. You can get Vegeta, which is phenomenal. And the part of me feels like, well, this character should have been introduced from the beginning. These are the basic characters, but they're super cool. You're fine. That you can play them. Also in EVO was revealed. Cooler was revealed, which is the brother of Frieza. It was definitely a very cool reveal. The mechanics are fantastic. If you haven't played Dragon Ball FighterZ, you are doing a disservice. This is the best, in my opinion, the best Dragon Ball Z game of all times. Tekken is the biggest one of the biggest franchises in gaming. Some people would say that it's even bigger than Street Fighter. Well, I kind of disagree with that. It's big in Japan, and it's big for a lot of people, especially a younger generation, in comparison to a more older generation like my age, or people my age that kind of prefer Street Fighter. But definitely Tekken has a big following, and it continues to grow, and some of the best gamers, some of the best fighters in the world are in that scene in Tekken. So we have another reveal in Evo. You have Negan from The Walking Dead, which is kind of cool. It's just always Tekken adds some flair. You also have, in the past, we have Spawn, you have Link from Zelda. So we always get some of these kind of cool characters. That we had Darth Vader, we had Yoda. So it's always, they always add something, an oddball to the thing. So again, this is part of the tradition. So we'll see what happens. We haven't seen no footage of it. We only saw a trailer. Also, Nintendo is really pumping a lot of stuff. Nintendo is really on a roll. It's been on a roll for quite a while. And one of the things that they have done is, of course, now they're bringing the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, which is definitely going to be the ultimate of all the Smash Brothers, until something else comes up, of course. But they bring in a lot of new characters and a lot of stages. For starters, they have Simon and Richter Belmont from Castlevania, which is extremely cool. Definitely, they look cool. The trailer was extremely cool. And you have King K. Rool from Donkey Kong. You have Crumb for Fire Emblem. You have Dark Samus, and so it's just they keep adding and adding, and all of the greatest things about one of the greatest things, all the pluses that come with this game. It's amazing what they have. They have 103 interactive stages with stage morph. So that means that it's a new system where actually you can morph into another stage, which is extremely cool. Definitely adds more to that, to the craziness of the Super Smash Brothers system. And you have 900 tracks. You're talking about 28 hours of music, which is insane. There's a lot of classic music, and probably a lot of remixes and all that kind of stuff. But definitely extremely cool. You have a lot of new fighting modes, so you're gonna be distracted for a while. A lot of items, assist trophies, and so on. So there's a lot still revealing. A lot of stuff it's coming soon. So stay tuned for that. Now continuing with Nintendo, definitely who doesn't love Nintendo? They have done fantastic. Just last month they sold more copies of the NES Classic than ever before, and they did actually surpass the sales of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One X. So it's just One S too. So definitely it's just there, really kicking it, and it really shows something that is extremely important within the gaming community, which is retro gaming sells. And that really also brings us a really sad story this week. Emuparadise. If you know, Emuparadise is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, websites that was dedicated to the preservation and the addition, a big collection of all the ROMs and a lot of games. So Emuparadise has been a staple of that for 18 years. I do own all the different consoles from Nintendo. I have owned them all my life. I love Nintendo. I love what they do. But after what they went a bit crazy recently, and they shut down technically, lot runs, and they after a lawsuit of $100 million, which is insane, especially for old ROMs that they're not even. They're not even selling through their system. They don't, the Switch doesn't have a virtual console. Even the old virtual consoles on the Wii U didn't have as many games, And I did purchase almost the entirety of those games. So I'm talking from the perspective of someone that is not just going there and, trying to steal or rob, because I'm not like that. I like to purchase things, but when there's no way for you to get them, you find ways so you can play and bring the memories back of those games that you used to play, that they're nowhere else to be found. And I can say emulators have a place in this world. They do, which is, it's kind of sad that because of the field repercussions, Emuparadise decides after 18 years just to shut down their service or the ability for you to download ROMs, and they still have emulators, but they're not going to be longer. I don't know what's going to happen. They planning to do something different, and all of this really saddens the retro community, who has supported Nintendo, has supported all these companies, and we have asked time and time again for games and DLC that they had never come, and we're still waiting for a virtual console on the Switch. We're still waiting for them to provide that. The Nintendo DS doesn't have a big library of these older games, and you know what? I don't have a problem paying that money. And I think Nintendo is just doing it as a service, not only to their clients, to the people that really care for Nintendo, but also to themselves. You know, if you're not selling the product, you know, people are going to look for it somewhere else. And it's important. And I see it from the perspective also from preservation, allowing to preserve these games for future generations, for them to really see what was gaming back in the day. And you can say, well, there's museums, and I heard those comments, and I've seen those videos. Well, there's people that preserve that, but that's a different story. There's a museum somewhere in a part of the world that nobody visits. How about people in China? How about people in India? How about people in Latin America? How about people even in the US? They don't have the possibility to travel to these museums to experience, you know, these games. So, you know, to me, it was just a bad move from Nintendo. Also, one of the biggest news that we have this week was an accusation started by a small channel, a gaming channel that goes by the name of Boomstick Gaming, of an IGN review of Dead Cells. Dead Cells is a Metroidvania style game. Definitely considered one of the best Metroidvanias in a long time. Definitely a cool game that you should check out. According to this channel, and put a comparison, he posted a video back in last month, you know, and like a week or 2 weeks later, it was another review came from IGN, and he made a video where he compared side by side, and definitely there was a lot of similarities. Ultimately, this prompted a big backlash over this review for IGN. People were really crazy, went crazy online because of it. This small channel win because of it, gained so much support, so that was definitely a good move. But he gained so much support, it went from 11,000 followers, which is it's a good number, it's bigger than mine, but it's definitely a good number. It went from that to 63,000, and that video alone just had over 1 million views. So definitely you see that guy is very happy. But yes, you know, I watched the reviews. I watched both reviews. I watched his, in this case, his video where he compares both, and you can see how clearly it was really plagiarized. I feel so bad for the guy. It really reminds us that sometimes a lot of channels here in YouTube, which is there's a plethora of channels and themes and things like that. People really work really hard, like I do. I work really hard to make these videos. When people get their job done and they're not appreciated, and somebody else takes that and use it in a bigger platform and takes ownership of that, is definitely really saddening. So thankfully, IGN stepped into it. Of course, because of the backlash, they decided to pull down that review. They check it out. They make sure everything was fine. They finally decided that actually there was some foul play. So actually, they got rid of the writer, which is sad because I feel that you made a mistake. You made a mistake. You know, he has to pay for the price for it, and he had cut. And you know, I think IGN did the right thing. Feel bad for him because of course there's a lot of big backlash, and people are gonna you label, especially if you're on the internet, you're gonna be labeled for what you have done for a long time. So I hope he's doing okay. I hope that he gets back up, you know, and learn from this mistake. But yes, it definitely really put a bad image in IGN again. But they came back later. They redo the review, which was good. It was a much better review. So it was a really bad experience. A lot of people are using this as a joke, as a punchline for IGN again. Well, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you're on the public eye, and these things happen, and there's lack of editors at your workplace, and you need to really create a way of checks and balances. We can actually see how your people are doing and how they're creating things. So I'm sure IGN is going to take care of all of that. And that brings me to a final point. And also, I'm going to use this story as an example. And one of the biggest things that I noticed, and we have seen this recently, and we have seen this for a while, is the way we can murder characters through the online service. The way we can really criticize people for what they have done. Yes, when people do wrong, they should pay the price for what they have done wrong. But just to murder a character, accuse somebody of something without proper proof, then that can be a dangerous proposition. This kid made a review, and he found that someone else took his work, so he had the facts. He did just simply say, "Oh, you took and plagiarized my work." He just went, compare, and he had the facts. He presented the facts, so this person was definitely found guilty of what he did. And I feel bad for him. I don't think he's a bad person. I don't know the reason why he felt the need to do it. Sometimes the pressure of work, the pressure of what you do, you feel alone, and it's been pointed out that sometimes people don't ask when they need help, and that's something so sad, because we should be able in this time and age to ask people for help. But of course, our society, particularly this Western society where we are taught to be self-sufficient and never show weakness, it really kind of gets on people, because when they don't know what to do, when maybe they're on a deadline or pressure, they just decide to go the easy route to solve that. And and that happens everywhere. I see it in my job. I see it everywhere. People just find shortcuts to get stuff done because they feel the pressure. And people shouldn't feel the pressure. People should be able to express themselves and say, hey, this is too much. I need help. And that's all it takes. It's better that way. But yeah, what really points out, or that really catches my attention, is the fact that people are quick to judge people, and you're gonna see people online, and this poor kid is gonna probably suffer for quite a while. But that you can see that also with James Gunn. He was just fired from his job. I'm going now into Marvel, just because things that he did 10 years ago. And now there's a backlash for it. Things that he said, that he apologized, but people go crazy to accuse him of, that he's a rapist, that he is this, that he's a child molester, and all that kind of stuff, which to me is just overboard. There's no facts. You have no facts. You only have something that he said, but you're not presenting the facts. So this is the part where we have to be extremely careful, particularly in this time and age. And I'm bringing this home. People are people. People make mistakes. People around us make mistakes. We make mistakes. It's important not to see their mistakes as a reflection of who they are inside, because sometimes people make mistakes. Doesn't mean that they're bad people. They just make mistakes, and sometimes they make very grievous mistakes. It's important to have mercy on people, and that's something that I do not see in this society anymore. We don't have mercy on people. We accuse people. We point out fingers. Yes, when people do wrong, they should pay the price. But it doesn't mean that we should just say, hey, and throw the stone, grab the stone and throw it, and say that I'm free of guilt, of sin, because we all are guilty of something. We all have failed. We all have done bad things. So once again, thank you for watching this news video. I wish the best for you this week. Thank you for supporting me. All the links below, support those links. You go through those links every time you purchase anything of those items, or you purchase through those links, then of course you support this channel. So and don't forget to follow me on Facebook, follow me on the Instagram, on Twitter, and I'll see you next review. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Take care, my friends. God bless.